Welcome back to another Polybridge 2 video. Today I will be continuing on with the series of how to beat every Polybridge 2 level. Today we are looking at the second half of World 6 and in particular levels 11 through 16. So jumping into it with level 611, Wall Jumpin. In this level you have to have your dune buggy climb up the level, hitting 5 different checkpoints before reaching its flag on the top left. The easiest way to do this is with a series of spring cannons. So you're going to have your car hit a 1, and then a 2, and then a 3, and then a 4, and then a 5, each with a single spring cannon. If we watch this in action, you can see that each time our car hits a checkpoint, the spring cannon goes off and continues to push it higher and higher up. With this level, the concept is quite simple. The execution, however, can be difficult. The easiest way I found to beat this level was to work on one spring cannon at a time. Set up your first spring cannon and just make it so that its launch works well to get you up to the A2 checkpoint. Then you can work on your second spring cannon before finishing on your third, your fourth, and then your fifth. Doing it this way is easy because you know that any spring cannon you make will not affect any of the prior spring cannons you have already made. With that being said, stress and budget are no issue at all with this level. Once you have an idea on how to beat this level, it should be fairly easy to execute. On to the next level then, level 612, Mind the Gap. In this level, we have a total of 3 roads in order to get our first A car over to its checkpoint and back, and then our F car over to its checkpoint and back. However, the only way to get your roads from one side of the level to the other is through the very small gap in the middle of the level. So in order to beat the level, I first had a contraption on the left side here which compacts the 3 roads into a single road in the middle. We then have a very beefy rotator, which rotates those roads over to the right side of the level, where they can then be unpacked again into 3 distinct roads. On the right we have a very simple split joint here, which will simply be used to catch the roads when they come to the right side of the level. So if we see this level in action, we will see that our A car drives over the gap before heading back to the left, and then our contraption will start to work. We have our 2 hydraulics here bring the roads into the middle, so we essentially just have one piece of road that we need to move. We then lift this one piece of road through over to the right, where it will then link up with the split joint we have on the right here. Our bridge then reassembles itself into its full length, allowing our second car to travel across to its checkpoint and then back to its flag. With that being said, the 2 most difficult things I found with this level was getting our rotation piece to properly line up with the gap in the middle here. However, if you tweak the point that this rotation device attaches to your bridge width, which is this point at the very top of your bridge, you can change how high your bridge will be when it passes through that gap. Might be necessary for you to tweak with that a little bit in order to get it to the correct height for you, but it is certainly possible to do. The next issue is dealing with budget. You will need to do a lot of over-engineering on the rotation piece at the bottom here, as well as the support on the right side of the level. However, you should be able to find enough places you can swap out steel for wood or cable for rope in order to easily get under budget. I ended up just over $1,500 under budget at the end of the level. On to the next level now, level 613, Pinball. In this level we have a single moped which must hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different checkpoints before hitting its flag at the very bottom of the level. My design involves the moped hitting the first 2 checkpoints at the very top of the level before continuing downward. In order to do this, I have a small spring cannon attached to the original position of the moped, followed by a number of small hammers made out of reinforced road which give the moped a little push as it travels along this path. If we have a look at this, we can see our spring cannon in motion, and then we see that the two hammers give the moped just enough momentum in order to hit the two checkpoints before continuing downward. The next part of the level involves having the moped travel inside this large ball to hit the third checkpoint. However, it must then come out of this ball before continuing to travel down the level. In order to do this, we have an entry catch, which is reinforced with a lot of springs in order to allow this to withstand the large forces of the moped falling a long distance before hitting these roads. This then funnels the moped into this ball, where we have 3 different sections of road in order to again funnel the ball into its checkpoint and then also allow it out. We can watch this in motion in order to first see the large amount of stress that this catch undergoes when it is hit by the ball, as well as how the roads in the middle of the level work to funnel the moped to its checkpoint and then back out the ball. So you can see here that these 2 roads act as a small catch for the moped as it originally enters the middle of this large ball before it is caught again by this second set of roads. The moped will then fall down to hit its checkpoint, and as the ball continues to rotate, the moped will come down before hitting our last section of roads. These roads are used to give the moped just enough lateral motion in order to clear the small gap that it was originally held in. And we can now see that when the moped falls off this, it will continue all the way down the level. We then just have a very large bridge across the bottom of the level, connecting the last 2 checkpoints and allowing our moped to hit both of them. The moped then falls off that bridge and rolls down to hit its flag. If you can get it so that you can get both of the 2 checkpoints at the top of the level first, before then hitting the checkpoint in the middle of the level becomes quite easy, as you can just build a simple bridge down the bottom of the level in order to connect the last 2 checkpoints. With that being said, this level was incredibly fun to theorycraft for, including these hammers at the top of the level, which I have never used in any other Polybridge 2 level, as well as the design of the contraption in the middle of the level here, which doesn't seem to work, but does end up working in the end. It was also very nostalgic just being able to build a normal bridge in order to round this level off. As in these last few levels of World 6, you don't get to build many normal bridges, so that was quite a delight to be able to build. With that being said, we now head on to the next level, level 614, Spin Cycle. In this level, we have 3 cars which must make it to the right side of the level. However, once they hit their first checkpoint, their engines cut off and they will not move. As such, you then need to transport them over to their second checkpoint on the right side of the level before they will continue to drive. The only power you have in this level comes from this rotating piece down the bottom here, which you will need to drive some contraption to get your cars to the right side of the level. In order to beat this level, I built a rotating structure that takes power from this spinning piece down the bottom, but rotates around this point in the middle of the level here. That allows you to have a much smaller radius of rotation, which allows you to avoid the rocks at the bottom of the level, which will break any roads that you have in place. My rotating device is connected to the motor for this level by a single steel muscle that you can see in the middle here. At the end of this rotation piece, we have 2 roads that form a cradle for the cars to fit in so that they can be lifted up and around to hit their second checkpoint. If we see this in action, we can see that my rotation device follows the movement of the motor of the level. Picking the cars up quite nicely before throwing them into the second checkpoint, where they then bounce and can drive to reach their flags. With that being said, once you understand the design concept for this level, it is quite easy to beat. Your budget is insanely high, so you don't need to worry about that, and this design does not undergo any serious stress. So if you want to use this design to beat this level, you should be able to beat it without any major issues. And as you can see, we beat the level quite nicely. On to the next level then, level 615, Special Delivery. In this level, you have no roads, and you must get a monster truck C over to the right side of the level, and a sports car F from the bottom left up to the top right of the level. In order to aid you in this task, you have two road-like pieces at the top of the level here, these pieces on the left and the right side of the level, as well as a box which the sports car is found in. You have to use these pieces to build a bridge for your monster truck to drive across, before then depositing the box containing the sports car onto the flag on the right. In order to do this, I first bring the box containing the sports car into the middle of the level using these diamond hydraulics you can see here. This then allows our box to link up with the second set of diamond hydraulics in the middle of the level here. These hydraulics will then lift the box containing the sports car into place, allowing the monster truck to drive over it. At the same time, these two road-like pieces are brought into place using simple 90-degree rotators. After this, we then have our rotator on the right move down again in order to be able to pick up the sports car and rotate it again into its flag. That sounds very complicated, but hopefully it will make sense if we can see it in action. So to start with, we have our diamond hydraulics pull our box into the center of the level before they disconnect, and our second set of diamond hydraulics lifts it up into place. As you can see now, our monster truck then drives across these three pieces in order to reach its flag. We then have our rotator on the right here come back down into place and link up with the box. Following this, we rotate up to the right again in order to hit the flag nicely. With that being said, I definitely struggled with budget in this level, and there are definitely cheaper designs that you can use to beat this level. However, I found this design the most intuitive. You simply break up the motion of each of the pieces into distinct parts, such as bringing the box into the center and then lifting it up, which I found made this level quite easy to beat. With that being said, the budget shape of this level was not particularly difficult for me. I was able to find enough pieces of steel that I could change into wood and wood muscles in order to beat the level easily. This is definitely one of the most complicated levels in Polybridge 2's 6th world. However, if you understand the mechanics behind how this design works, I definitely believe that you will be able to beat it. This level was also probably one of my favorite levels in World 6, just for its unique design, having to build a level without any roads at all. I found to be challenging, but also very rewarding once I beat the level. We then go to the final level of the game, level 616, Rube Goldbridge. This level is very complicated. However, you can break it up into several distinct pieces, which make it much easier to understand. So to start with, we have 4 balls at the top of the level here. We need to get one of each of these balls into the contraption that contains these vans. Those balls will then push down on this lever and allow our vans to hit their flags. We then, down the bottom here, have a simple bridge where we need to have a car travel from the right of the level to the left, and a second car travel from the left of the level to the right. Finally, on the very left of the level here, we have our C car. Our C car needs to hit its checkpoint before being lifted upwards so that it can then drive off and hit its flag. In order to beat this level, first you need to separate the 4 balls at the top here. I did that with a design like this, which is just 4 pieces of reinforced road that are held up by springs, as well as 2 pieces of cable. This is used to split the balls to the left and the right of the level, and is quite useful in that it will separate one ball to the right before one goes to the left, and then the right again, and then the left. This works out well as it allows you to have hydraulic stages work out nicely in order to allow you to beat the level quite easily. With that being said, once you have your A4 and A2 vans hit their checkpoints, you then need to close up the gap that the first ball fell through in order to allow those balls to travel to the A3 and A1 vans. In order to do this, I just built a simple bridge connected to a 90-degree rotator, which will bring that bridge down, covering the gap. I had the exact same design on the left and the right of the level, and that worked very nicely. In order to have the third ball reach the A3 van, I needed to deflect it back into its contraption. I did this simply with a single reinforced road that is held to the static joint at the very top right of the level with a few pieces of cable and some steel. Next, we have this bridge at the bottom of the level. With this bridge, we originally have our I1 van travel across to reach its flag at the top right. In order to do this, we have this section of road at the end rotate up so that it will lock in place with the split joint at the top right here. This then allows our I1 van to travel up to reach its flag, before our G1 car then needs to travel up to the right. In order to achieve this, I have the section of roads on the right rotate back down in order to join up with the split joint at the bottom right here, giving a nice smooth surface for the G1 car to travel up. We then have a separate section of road on the top of the level here, with a trapdoor design which will rotate down and allow the G1 car to travel up onto the top bridge here. That G1 car then travels across the length of this top bridge before it tumbles off and hits its flag. Having our G1 car travel across this separate top section of road is very important, as we also need to get our fourth ball down to our A1 van contraption. In order to do this, I have two pieces of road in the middle of the bridge here simply disconnect. What then happens is we have our fourth ball travel across to the left, where it will travel over this bridge which has rotated down, and it then funnels down with the help of these reinforced roads here. These roads funnel the ball down and to the right, where they then hit this deck here before traveling onto our bridge and falling through the gap that we've created into the contraption. Without this top section of road for the G1 car to travel against, the ball and the car simply collide and neither makes it to its required destination. The final part of our level is getting the C car up to its flag. This is very simple, as the C car simply stops when it hits its checkpoint and needs to be raised so that it is at the same level as its flag. This is achieved very easily with a bunch of hydraulics. These hydraulics lift up the platform so that it is level with the flag, allowing the C car to simply drive off and hit its flag. If we watch the level play out in full now, we should be able to see all of these individual pieces of the level come together quite nicely. As you can see, we start by having our four balls hit this separator piece at the top of the level before they travel into their van contraptions. As I was saying just before, we have our four balls separate in a right-left configuration. This is very useful as it gives us plenty of time to have different hydraulic stages go off at different times without interfering with each other. So as you can see here, we then have our bridge come into its final position and our G1 car start traveling up. The ball then travels down at the exact same time and falls into the final contraption. We then have our G1 car simply fall off the bridge and fall into its flag. With that being said, we will watch this level through one more time, and as we do, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this series, feel free to give it a like, subscribe if you like the content. I am looking to put out a lot more Polybridge 2 content at the moment. At least for the next week, I want to put out a new Polybridge 2 video every single day. as well as streaming live on Twitch at least 3 or 4 times within that time span. I will also be continuing this series with a look at the challenge version of World 5, and looking at how to beat every single level in Challenge World 5. Hopefully that will be coming out shortly. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. See ya!